Good morning. Today we will learn about the relationship of DFT to other transforms, especially its properties. In the last classes, we have studied that DFT is used for the frequency analysis of signals that we have already discussed in one topic. Now here we are going to explore the relationship of DFT to other transforms. So first of all, we will learn about the relationship of DFT to the Fourier series coefficients of a periodic sequence. Suppose that you have a periodic sequence, say XPN. Here this P actually stands for periodic, and suppose that the fundamental period of that periodic sequence is represented by capital letter N. Then such a periodic sequence can be represented in a Fourier series of the form xpn is equal to summation over k equal to 0 to n minus 1 ck e raised to j 2 pi nk by n. Here ck is the Fourier coefficient and is given by 1 by n summation over n equal to 0 to n minus 1 xpn e raised to minus j 2 pi nk by n. K ranges from 0 to n minus 1. So here we observe that the formula for Fourier series coefficients, that is Ck, that is this one, has the form of a DFT, which is quite clear. In fact, if we define a sequence, suppose that we are defining a sequence xn, which is similar to that of the periodic sequence xpn, with a small letter n ranging from 0 to n minus 1, then the DFT of this sequence will be given by x of k is equal to n c of k. Here x of k is the DFT, n is the fundamental period of the periodic sequence, ck is the Fourier coefficient. Okay, so here we can say that this equation 1, that is here the equation 1, this has the form of an inverse DFT here, whereas thus the endpoint DFT provides the exact line spectrum of a periodic sequence with fundamental period n. That is here this one, it has a form of an inverse DFT, whereas this has the form of a DFT. That is here, from here we can write, we can find xp, that is given here. So if this equation, if the DFT, then this will be the inverse DFT. So that gives a relationship between DFT and Fourier series coefficient Ck. Next is the relationship to Fourier transform of an aperiodic sequence. Suppose that we have a Fourier transform, say x omega. X omega actually represents Fourier transform. Now we have already shown that if x of n is an aperiodic finite energy sequence with Fourier transform x omega, which is sampled at n equally spaced frequencies, then the spectral components, that is in briefly, let xn be a aperiodic finite energy sequence and let x omega be the Fourier transform. Let the sampling be done in this interval, that is omega k is equal to 2 pi k by n. Then the frequency components is given by DFT x of k is equal to x of omega. X of omega is the Fourier transform. At omega it is sampled at this interval, that is omega equal to 2 pi k by n. Then this will be given by summation over n equal to minus infinity plus infinity x of n. What is x of n? It is an aperiodic finite energy sequence e raised to minus j 2 pi n k by n, where k ranges from 0 to n minus 1. Then the DFT coefficients of the periodic sequence of that is the DFT, that is this one is actually the DFT, which is already this xk is the DFT. Then are the DFT coefficient of the periodic sequence of period n, that is xp is a periodic sequence given by this form. And so if you have a periodic sequence, that is xpn, then its DFT components or DFT coefficients is given by this equation. So that gives a relationship between Fourier transform and DFT, and this DFT coefficient exists if and only if a particular condition is satisfied. That condition is given by this, that is unless x of n, that is x of n must be a finite duration, that is that sequence must be of finite duration and its length must be less than or equal to n, that is n means the fundamental period of the periodic sequence. So then only this DFT coefficient exists. That is, if you have a periodic sequence like this, then its DFT coefficient is given by this, and it will exist if and only if this particular condition is satisfied, that is xn must be of a finite duration and its length must be less than or equal to n. Okay. Next is a relationship to z transform. That is, z transform is given by x z is equal to summation over n is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n. It is nothing but a sequence z raised to minus n, and with the ROC stands for region of convergence, which we will study later, and it is valued in a unit circle. Okay, now this xz, that is the z transform, is sampled. How is it sampled? At n equally spaced points on a unit circle defined by this, and so we can write this DFT of that z transform as x of k, that is a DFT, then xz is the z transform, and sampling is done at z equal to e raised to j 2 pi nk by n. K ranges from 0 to n minus 1. So this will be the final expression. So where xn is a periodic sequence. And now this particular expression is identical to that of Fourier transform x omega evaluated at n equally spaced frequencies given by this. And here also n must be a finite, n must be x of n must be a sequence of finite duration, and length must be less than or equal to n. Okay, now we can express this xz as a function of DFT x of k as this, that is x of z equal to summation over n equal to 0 to n minus 1 x of n z raised to minus n. So this is a DFT and this is the z transform. So, and on simplification we can write this summation is kept as such. Instead of x of n we can write this particular equation, and z raised to minus n is kept as such, and the next step we are splitting it, or we are taking the summation inside and 1 by n is taken outside, and the final expression that we get will be this. Okay, so when this equation is evaluated on a unit circle, we will get a Fourier transform of this finite sequence x of n in terms of DFT, and this final expression will be like this, that is x of omega is equal to this particular expression. And so this expression is also called as a polynomial or Lagrange formula for x of omega in terms of values of x of k. So this gives a relationship between x of k, that is DFT, and the z transform x omega. So that is another relationship. So there is no need of studying the proof, how you get all these things. Just study the theory part, that is enough. Okay. Next is the relationship to Fourier series coefficients of a continuous time signal. We know a continuous time signal in the first class we have studied. It is represented by x of at, that is a actually stands for analog. For analog signal is also called by the name continuous time signal. Now this signal or a continuous time signal can be expressed in the form of a Fourier series as follows, that is x of at is equal to summation over k from minus infinity to plus infinity ck. What is ck? Fourier coefficient e raised to j 2 pi k f of n. F of n is this f of 0, this is period frequency, and here ck are the Fourier coefficient. So how can you obtain, this is actually an analog signal or continuous time signal. Now from this continuous time signal, how will you get the discrete sequence x of n? That is, we already studied in our first class that an analog signal or a continuous time signal is sampled at regular intervals of time to get a discrete sequence x of n. So that is done here. Discrete sequence x of n is obtained by the sampling of an analog signal x of a nt, that is n number of times it is sampled at a time period t, and the final expressions for that will be this one. So this has the form, or this is similar to that of the form of an inverse DFT. This particular, so there is no proof for this. So after writing this particular part, that is x of n is into x of a, you can directly go and write this particular equation, and we can say that this is of the form of an inverse DFT, and you just write this expression and what is the ck or the Fourier coefficient, that is enough. Okay, so this is a relationship between the Fourier series coefficient of a continuous time signal with the DFT. Next is the relationship between DFT and DTFT. So this is DFT, this is DTFT. Okay, So from these equations we can relate these two equations as follows. That is, it is clear that this x of k is equal to x of e raised to j omega t, that is dt of t, and it is both of them are will become equal at defined at omega tending to 2 pi by nt and k tending to omega s by n k. That is k equal to, that is written as omega s fundamental frequency by n length of the sequence into k and integer, that is written here. So this dft and dtft becomes equal at this particular limit, and k ranges from 0 to n minus 1. There is no further proof for that. So from the above we can say that an endpoint dft of an n-length sequence x of n can be obtained by sampling its dtft in the frequency. That is, a dft can be obtained from dtft by sampling the signal at which all frequencies, at this frequency, that is at omega equal to 0, another one is omega s by n, and that is 1 into omega s by n, one is not written there, then other one is 2 into omega s by n, the other one is 3 into omega s by n, and so on up to n minus 1 into omega s by n. So if you sample this dtft at these particular frequencies, you will get the corresponding dft of a particular sequence. Now here we will see, we are considering a sequence of length 8. Okay, then how it is sampled over a unit circle, that is demonstrated using a circle here. See, it is sampled, that is dft coefficients from z transform is evaluated at n equispaced points on the circumference of a unit circle. Let us see how it is sampled. So here this is omega equal to 0, so you will the dft as x of 0. Okay, then you are sampling it at 1 into omega s by n. Here n is taken as 8, so it will be omega s by 8, that is 1. So you get the dft x of 1. Then how will you get x of 2? That is dft corresponding to this 2, that is it will be 2 into omega s by 8. See, that is written here. So it is sampled at regular Nelson and up to this you get. So omega, last one will be this. Okay, what is the last one? N minus 1. Here since n is equal to 8, the last one will be 8 minus 1. So that will be 7 into omega s by 8. This is how the sampling is done. So the sampling is done as per this particular frequencies. Okay, so it is demonstrated using a particular circle. So that is the relationship of DFT with all other transforms. There is no need of studying the proof, just study the theory part. I have briefed it as far as possible, so you can just go through the equations. Here in this case you will have to remember a lot of equations, so you will have to write and study and understand it. Just this theory part is enough. Okay, no need of going into elaborate proofs. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.